Hello, this is Bruno Luce with GLB Productions, and welcome to the Sounding Board, where I take 4 or 5 viewer questions that I received recently and share them with you, my dear subscribers. The first question for today was posed by a viewer after I released my recent video recording of Gethsemane by Joseph Adams, and he was basically asking how was the sound for the video captured. So to begin with, let's cover the microphone setup that you can see in the video. If you look at this still, you can see that there's a total of 5 mics. The 2 short stands on the left and the right are for the soloists, the men on the left and the ladies on the right. The taller pair towards the center are there to pick up the choir as a whole. And the very tall stand right in the middle is for my recording microphone, which in this case was the Audio-Technica BP4025, which is a large diaphragm stereo condenser microphone. The other 4 mics that you can see are AKG C535 EBs. Now, the sound on the recording that you can hear is mainly that center stereo microphone. That took up 2 channels on my Mackie 802 VLZ4, which I used as a recording mixer. I also took a stereo feed from the main church mixer, which contained the soloist mics panned to 10 and 2 o'clock respectively, and also the lectern mic, which is used at the beginning. The other pair of C535s, they were used to reinforce the choir and to balance it against the organ. They were not actually used in the recording. The output of the 802 was sent to the video camera, which I set the gain on that manually. So there was no compression during the recording, but I did add a little bit in post-production in order to keep the peaks under control. Otherwise, the louder bits, like where they're singing Crucify Him, they just explode, and as a result, you have to keep the overall level really low. Now, the trickiest part in the recording was blending in just the right amount of those 2 soloist mics. I needed to add them in order to get the detail and the articulation of what they were singing. But if I added too much, it started to sound too dry and you lost the sense of the space and the ambience in the church. I found that for the male singers, just a little bit was enough, but for the ladies who were much softer, I needed an almost 50-50 mix of the soloist and recording microphones. So that's how the sound for Gethsemane was captured. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comment section below how you record your own church choir, either for special events or just on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis. Second question for this episode is regarding the Tascam CD recorder. The question is, my CD recorder is not working and I'm getting the disc error message. I can play discs, but I can't record. My answer to that is try a different brand or a different batch of discs. These recorders, they're relatively sensitive when it comes to choice of disc. What I have found is that you always want to use a name brand of disc. Sony, Verbatim, Philips, that kind of thing. Also remember that it will only record on CDRs, nothing else. Okay? So make sure that when you buy them, it says CD-R. Finally, if the event is a critical one, I suggest that you use either a computer-based recording system with a USB interface like the Steinberg UR22, or you use a handheld recorder such as one of those from Tascam or Zoom. I personally use the Zoom H5 for all of my backup recording. Anytime I have an event that is important, I always run a backup recorder, and the sound reinforcement guy will typically also have a recorder running in addition to the CD recorder. So that gives me the audio in the camera, and it also gives me a total of 3 backups in case things go wrong. Third question is it okay to use wireless mics for all of my vocals? My answer to that is yes, it's okay, but you need to ask yourself, is it necessary? Remember that the most expensive wireless mic in the world doesn't sound as good as the wired version of that mic with the same capsule, alright? So a wired SM58 will sound better than even the most expensive version of the wireless SM58, and the reason for that is that when you go wireless, a whole bunch of things have to happen to the signal, right? There's a process called companding, which limits the dynamic range during the transmission and then blows it up again when it gets to the receiver, and a simple cable doesn't do any of this. So my recommendation is only use wireless if you need the freedom of movement, right? When you go wireless, you have to think about frequency coordination, and everything just costs more. There's more things that could go wrong. And if you don't need it, just use a wired mic, right? People like Elton John, Billy Joel, who are sitting at a piano playing, they use simple wired microphones, even though they can afford the most expensive equipment in the world. So things like a lead vocalist who is all over the stage, in the audience and back, definitely wireless. And you know, things like Q&A mics that are passed around the audience during a corporate event, those are also good candidates for wireless use. So that's it for this week. If you like my videos, please subscribe to GLB Productions, and also please consider supporting my channel via my Patreon page. Links in the description below, and also in the video cards, which can be accessed by clicking the little circle in the top right corner of your screen, just there. Until the next time, this is Bruno Luce for GLB Productions. Take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.